The new golden visa rules, will it make the UAE a new migration destination favorite just like Canada? What are the strategic shifts that we are seeing between UAE and India? Is it another form of India's soft power push? UAE's golden visa changes that have come might end up making UAE the new migration destination. But that's not all, because it is a call to India's value creators, not just investors. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we will be understanding that this new golden visa rules that have been changed by UAE are not just an attempt to invite Indians, but how it is symbolic that India is changing from just a labor exporter to the global talent hub. And this new policy change marks that India remains at the center of such policies. Furthermore, it signifies that UAE is going beyond oil. It is exploring and diversifying its income sources, value creation, and assets as well. So let us begin with understanding the change in rules that has happened. So basically, this time UAE is not inviting high value investors or people who are directly investing in assets. This time UAE has said that the golden visa can be availed with a one-time fee of 100,000 dirhams. That is almost equivalent to 23 lakh rupees. There is no investment which is required in real estate or business. And the focus is especially on value creators, healthcare professionals, business creators, podcast makers, so that there is value addition and the economy moves towards digitalization, the digital economy, and the whole idea lies going beyond a oil-centric economy itself. Now, this particular rule is not a blanket cover where the focus is only on the one-time fee. Rather, this rule comes with nomination factor also. So, whoever is paying that fee also need nomination by UAE approved partners. For example, we have VFS Global or we have Riyadh Group. And it will also be subjected to strict background check, AML and criminal checks. But at the same time, the approval comes based on the merit, skill, value addition that UAE's economy is looking for. We have to understand here the focus of this whole policy is not just for people who can pay for this one-time fee. Rather, the target is the human capital which is available in India. And when UAE is shifting its model, economic model, India remains the center of this particular new policy. Now, what are the key benefits that will be given to the visa holders? So, there will be a long-term residency that is for 10 years, which will be renewable later. The sponsor family and domestic staff. Other than that, no local sponsor is required. UAE approved sponsors are required, but local sponsors are not required. And the biggest factor that these visa holders can engage freely in business, employment, and creative work. I have already highlighted why this transition remains the focal point for UAE in order to go beyond just oil-based economy. UAE in recent years itself has been focusing on tourism, has been talking about technology, and now this particular move seems like a way in value creation, content creation, and also targeting the human capital which can assure this particular facilitation. Now we have to understand that how this rule change beyond this the parameters and eligibility becomes important as a strategic shift. Whenever such rules come, especially come for partner nations, you have to understand that their implications are important, their analysis remains important, their dimensions remain important. So what is the importance here? Because this is marking a strategic shift. What is the strategic shift we are talking about? When we are talking about the strategic shift, it is basically UAE's smart policy that we are saying and India's soft power push that is happening. You have to understand these are happening in combination at the same time when we are talking about strengthened CAPA bonds. Now basically, Here, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement was signed between India and UAE back in 2002 itself, and this visa offer stands in alignment with that, and further it enhances the mobility of the eligible professionals and allows service sector integration as well. This also showcases the change of the diplomacy that we see. So here we are coming and talking about migration diplomacy, where it is mutual, where it is not just a form of low wage labor contract. Here people who are getting to migrate are getting to come with dignity, they are getting a long-term opportunity as well as freedom. So this also shows the changing face of migration diplomacy that lies in front of us. At the same time, when I talked about the strategic shift, I mentioned that it highlights India's soft power, and this rule change and India at its center gives the recognition to that soft power. When we talk about the soft power, we have to understand that it is associated with the culture, human capital, specially related to India and India's global technology, be it healthcare, creative economy. They are an important epicenter to new UAE development model as well. Now, this is where we find that there is a clear acknowledgement to the fact that India is the talent pool that is a global hub. And it is not just the labor force that UAE is looking for. And India is not merely, as I mentioned in the start itself, that India is not being looked as just a labor exporter, but it's a global talent hub, which as a resource the UAE here wants to use. Now we have to understand that this also indicates that how the partnership, regional partnership, especially for development, are a symbolic way, especially for the southern bloc. Now when we are talking about regional blocs, so this particular change that we have seen, they are basically giving us a template that how global south can come together and help each other. And this is an example that where we see transaction of talent, where we see usage of talent, and at the mutual beneficial level it is happening. So the nomination based visa basically balances talent attraction plus national security. We have to understand, because we cannot compromise on the national security. So the nomination factor addresses the national security part and the talent attraction, because the fee has been reduced. There is no big investment required. It is just a one-time fee of 23 lakh rupees, and the person is invited. He has a long-term visa. He has the freedom to contribute economically. And this is where it makes the talent-centric place without compromising on the security of the nation as well. This is where we find diplomatic leverage as well, because in India's context, this also further enhances diplomatic leverage that we have in terms of diaspora. You have to understand that even in UAE, the contribution of Indian diaspora remains huge, to an extent of almost 40%, and a strategic response to brain drain concern, this is a good place to start. Reason being, because here we see the migration is going to be safe, legal, as well as assured, because in multiple cases where the migration is difficult in terms of monetary ways, people find illegal ways to do it, especially when they find hotspot destinations. We have seen when we talk about donkey routes, this is where we see illegal migration happening, because this is an opportunity for a better standard of living that is possible. So this is a strategic shift which I was talking about, because in terms of your exam, you have to understand that this rule change specifically for India, how it highlights other implications. Now, in order to actually relish this opportunity, what is required? We have to understand India's end in this particular context as well. So this is definitely an opportunity that is in front of India, because it shows that India's human capital is wanted, India's talent is wanted, and it is an export strength that can help us. So it will help us in earning the foreign exchange, which is a definite requirement for development of any nation, because this is what facilitates our imports. So this will not only be opportunity in terms of culture but also economics, because this is a export strength that we are seeing. Other than that, it will promote diaspora led diplomacy, where almost 3.5 million Indians in UAE already play a key role economically. It will also facilitate mid-career talent, especially from Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, where the opportunities are saturated and limited, and they will be able to use this global mobility to explore the opportunities that is in front of us. So the advantage, you have to decipher it at levels. The advantage lies at the individual level, the advantage lies at the national level, and at the economic level as well. But in order to get the best of this opportunity, it is important there are certain policy considerations from India as well, because India would need to streamline talent credentials properly so that the global skill certifications are available, they are promoted, and the individuals who are interested in using this route, they have proper skills and certifications as well. Other than that, domestic policy and incentives associated with it need to be improved so that the talent, if required to retain in the country, it is retained, and there should be provisions for return migration as well, in terms of opportunities, in terms of living standards, etc. And definitely there is need for India to scale better bilateral migration agreements with not just UAE but other Gulf nations as well, because this is UAE and it is not just one place in Gulf nation where Indian diaspora is contributing significantly. Multiple Gulf nations, be it Saudi and others, we find Indian diaspora is contributing in a humongous amount, be it in tech, be it in labor force, be it in creative economy as well. Now here my question for you is, this basically signifies the changing ties, especially in Middle East, for India. Which are the other countries that India can look towards to form constant alliance, and what are the challenges that we are facing in Middle East? Now that was all from my side. Thank you so much.